right. So today we're going to be doing a CMA using the Garden State MLS. We have a property that we're going to search in here. We're going to find comps in the neighborhood. And then we're going to take these comps, look at the features of them. We're going to apply an adjustment guide, which I have here, which I use the Jeffrey Auto Guide. I know it's a little blurry, but it's the Jeffrey Auto Guide for adjustments. And then we're going to take these adjustments based on the property of interest versus the comps, and we're going to make pluses and minuses, and we're going to load it into the sales comparison report on the RPR website. And what that's going to do, it's going to generate a nice, beautiful report that you can provide to your sellers for your listing or to your buyers if your buyers wanted to put in an offer, right? And it's a really nice professional looking report. It's free. It's free to you because you're a member of the Garden State MLS. So why not use it, right? Why not? Free is good. Free is good in our business. So we're at the home page. You guys are going to log in using your credentials in Garden State MLS. Okay, we're going to enter the address. In this case, we're going to use 42 Van Devere. This one is for sale, right, Ash? Oh, this may not come up because it's a FSBO. It's not going to come up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to come up. Does somebody have a real life property they want to use? I'd like to use one that's...
I can give you another one. Just a second.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Bear with me 1 second.
So while we're waiting, so when you guys go to the home screen here for the Garden State MLS, if you know the address of the property, you can do a quick search right in here and it'll pop up as you're typing. Start to auto-populate, and then you can go to it directly that way. You also have the search feature here that you can do quick search and so forth and look for the property. But if it's already in the system, it's easier to just enter it here and do a quick search. You got it, Ash?
I can give you the MLS number.
Okay.
376 9723.
There it goes. So before I even hit enter, it automatically populated. So this one is in Hillsborough.
Yes.
It's 49 Beverly Drive, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So this is the MLS listing for the subject property that we're going to do a sales comparison for. Okay. And what I usually do is I actually print it usually. I'll print this out and keep it handy. And then we're going to go and use that and print out the other sheets and do it that way too. Or if you prefer, you can save them as PDFs and then you can pull them up on a computer and compare and contrast that way. So this one, I'm just going to write the address down, 49 Beverly Drive. And we're going to apply this to the map. We're going to do a map search because what is the key feature? I mean, when you guys do a comp, what is the first thing you want to, how you want to isolate the comps when you're doing a subject property?
You want to look for the homes in the neighborhood or surrounding the subject property?
Correct. Yeah. So I usually start very small and very tight. And then I'll expand based on how many pop up. And then what's another thing that you want to look at once you do that? What's another important feature when we're doing comps as far as location and also like
Similar
the
type of
dates,
property?
right? The dates sold, right? You want something, you want to try to have something within the last 6 months, because that's the most accurate. And we want to also pull up sold properties, obviously, but it's also important to have some active properties that's also on the market. And then some maybe under contracts if we can pull up a few. I don't use the under contracts too much because you don't know what price they really sold for or what they're under contract for. And the same thing with the actives, you don't know what, obviously they're going to sell for. But one good thing about actives, if you can use some actives, like 3 actives and 3 closed listings, is at least the actives give you an idea of what is currently the price of the home selling, right? So you'd have the current price of the selling, and then the solds give you what they actually sold for. So it's a nice little way to average things out and to balance it out to come up with a CMA for your subject property. Okay, So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go to search. I'm going to go to quick search and RES, which is residential. Okay. I'm going to go to show map. Oh, first I have to select the town. So it's Somerset County, because this is in Hillsborough. I'm going to go to show map. And then under show map, I'm going to enter here the address, which was 49 Beverly Drive, Hillsborough. Enter. And then sometimes it's a little tough to find the little pin. It's around. If you guys see the pin, let me know. Let's hit it one more time. There it is. You see it? This is like, where's Waldo? You know that where's Waldo game? Trying to find Waldo. There it is. Where's the pin? There's the pin. Okay. So this is our subject property. So you want to find things that are in the area, right? So in this vicinity. Zoom out a little bit. So there's not many, right? There's only like a couple here of actives. So let's go back. We actually have to select here solds as a check mark. So here you have coming soon, active, US, which is under contract, continue to show, under contract, which we can click also, and solds. Now, do you guys know the difference between just the solds and the SDs?
Old sold?
Say that again?
Is it old sold?
Yeah, old sold. Yeah. So basically, these are solds within the last, I believe this is the last year, and these are more than a year. So here it's saying there's so many now that we selected those. So what we're going to do is narrow this down a little bit. And we lost our pin. Where's the pin? There it is. Okay. Right here. So we have the greens are active. These are under contracts. So we don't really have any solds in this vicinity. The solds come up. See, these are all under contract, tons of them under contract, right? But not a lot of solds, so I'm surprised. Because I don't see any red on here, right?
Mm-mm.
What's going on with that? Right? I don't see any red. Interesting. So I'm just curious, if I select this, do I get reds? Nope. Let me do this. For some reason, I don't believe that it's not coming up with any solds.
Hillsborough was weird like that on GSMLS.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, because I was trying to do a CMA with it as well. Hillsborough was weird.
All right. It's not showing up any solds. It's very strange.
How about you just click sold and just, check off all the other ones?
Yeah,
Just-
we're just going to proceed with what we have. It's just very strange that I find it hard to believe there's like no solds. It's like a little glitch, honestly, I think. So we're just going to pick these and just proceed, right? But normally you want to get 3 solds and like 3 active, and you have a few under contract. So we're going to select these.
What if you select any of those under contract ones? That's not going to give you any relevant information?
Yeah, we just don't know like the sold numbers, but you know, we're just gonna comp it with what we know like the listing price to be, you know, that's all we can do for the purpose of the training. But
Mm.
normally you would have some solds that pop up, but I'm not sure why it's not showing up. It's strange. All right, to me, I think it's a glitch personally, because it should come up. Okay, so here we have, this is the subject property, 49 Beverly. So just take note of like kind of what it looks like, right? It's a colonial, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's listed for 575. Okay. Let's click on the one that's, this is the actual one that's active. Okay, let's click on this one that's under contract. Right, this is similar, right? So let's select this one. So we're gonna do 9 Joshua Drive, which is MLS number 3755219. Because that's also colonial. I'm just writing this down, and then 2.5 baths. Okay. All right, so we'll select that one because these are in the area, right? We'll select this one, 6 Walnut Grove, MLS 3760119, because it's also 4 beds and 2.5 baths. This one I'm not going to select. It's kind of across the road. It's probably not a good comp. And then I'll select, let's see, this one is active right now. Even though there's like a huge price difference here, it's still got the 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. So we'll select that. We'll probably have to just make some adjustments on our guide with it. So let me write this one down too. And we're also going to get more comps. We can probably get some sold comps from the actual RPR, because there's a glitch right now in the MLS. It's not showing the solds, but it'll probably show up when we go to the actual RPR. So 3769869. This is also 4 bed and 2.5 bath. All right, so let's go with these for the sake of the training. All right, so then let's minimize this. All right. So we can actually, if we hit search, it tells us there's like so many of them. So let's narrow this down a little bit if we can. We can probably just look it up by address. Or actually, you know what we'll do? Go back to the map. We'll actually highlight this location. We'll put a circle around it. And that way, we'll only capture like some of these. Oh, they're the solds. My gosh, they've just appeared. All right, so let's do number 15. Okay, 47 Beverly. This is perfect now. So 47 Beverly.
1 second, Sophia. So when you entered the address and you went to the map, right? Then how did you get to the pin? Couldn't locate that pin.
Oh, it's, you have to enter the address. There's this little edit search button here,
Okay.
and you enter the address in here. That's your subject property.
Okay.
And that's where you type it in, and then the pin pops up.
Right. Okay. I wasn't able to get the pin. That's why I was okay.
Yeah. So what happened just now was we had so many records of solds. So that's why the reds weren't coming up. But once we isolated it with a circle around it, they all popped up. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. So now we have this one. All right. We have a lot of examples now. Well, this one's not good. This is a bi-level, but now we have a few we can actually use. This is a good one, right? We have a few. 16 Joshua. Okay. So what we're going to do here now is we can actually hit search and we're going to get a list of all of these in this within the circle.
Mhm.
34 records. You hit yes. Okay. You can actually close this out at this point. And now it's only listing the 34 records here, right? So we know we want the other Beverly. Which is somewhere. I wish, you know, in the Central Jersey MLS, what they actually have is a little button that you can select, remember, on here, but the Garden State doesn't have it. Like they used to have a little check mark thing here. It's kind of a pain. They don't have it. So you kind of like have to write it down. So 47 Beverly, and then we'll pick this one, 3 Linden Drive. These are bigger. These are much bigger. Ten Barber Drive. Okay, those are 3 solds. We're going to use 47 Beverly, 3 Linden, and 10 Barbara. And then we had a couple actives too. Dear one, but you know, for just the sake of the training, we're just going to focus on the 3 solds for now, just for the time being, because of the time constraint we have. Let's just do the 3 solds. Okay. So now we have to find them on this list. So we have 10 Barbara. So we check this off. And then we had 3 Linden and 47 Beverly. There's 47 Beverly and 3 Linden. There we go. Okay. All right. And then we're going to view. Okay. And then I actually want to add, let me add the subject property as well, so we can compare it. All right. So now the main things we want to look for, the number of, let's start off with the number of bathrooms, right? We purposely sort of selected all of them. I think they all have 2.5, but we can kind of go through each of them and just make sure. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, right? 2.5. So we're not going to correct for baths, right? I'm trying to correct for like the big features, right? So usually it's number of baths, size, square footage of a house. Does it have a basement? And the age. So age and square footage are usually the 2 biggest. And then you also want bathroom, number of bathrooms, and basement. Those are usually the biggest. And then is it on a busy road or not a busy road? But the ones we picked were not really on busy roads, right? So we won't worry about that. But those are usually the main things. And then of course you look at number of garages and so forth. But usually those 4 things. So living area, age are the 2 biggest, and then basement and bathrooms, number of bathrooms. But the bathrooms are the same, so we're not going to correct for that. So since we're here, let's look at basement. All right. So basement. The subject property has a basement and it's a full basement. It's not a finished basement. If it was finished, it would say full and finished, right? So this is just a basement and it's a full basement. So the next property, 10 Barbara, does not have a basement, okay? And then the next one, 47 Beverly, has one, it's unfinished. Same thing as our subject. And then 3 Linden, same thing, unfinished. So they're pretty much all unfinished. So we're not going to correct for it, except that one that actually doesn't have a basement at all that we'll correct for. Okay, so
Where
that's going
can
to
you
be.
see the basement?
Say that again.
Sorry, where can you see the basement?
Where can you see it?
Yeah, where can
Right here.
you?
Right here.
Sophia, I think your map is blocking
Oh,
the.
you can't see what I'm doing?
No, I can't.
Okay, all right, let me share it.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry. Let me just share my
Maybe.
whole screen. Okay. Good?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so see on the MLS sheet right here, basement full,
Okay, got it.
right? And then I scroll down, this is a subject property. Then I scroll down, 10 Barber Drive. See basement? No. So that means that you're going to take the sale price of this one, which was 540, and add to it the cost of a full basement. And again, I'm going to use the CMA guide that I have from Jeffrey Otto to do it. And we're going to do that in the RPR. So just for now, I'm just kind of going through it just to show you the compare and the contrast, right? So now, year built, let's look at that. This was built in 1980, subject property. This is 1975, it's older. 1979, so it's not too far off of 1980, but it was renovated, but still, the original age is close. So you don't really have to correct because it's so close. 4 years I would correct, 5 years I would correct. And the correction for that, just so you guys know, on this adjustment guide, and I think I emailed the adjustment guide to you guys at one point. And if you didn't have it, just send me an email or a text and I'll send it to you. But basically for age of property, you take the sale price, and I'm going to explain the equation that they have on this spreadsheet. Sale price times 60% times 0.5% times the age difference. And I'll explain the equation. Sales price times 60%. The reason we're multiplying by 60% is it's assumed that the home consists of 60% of the 100% and 40% is land value. Okay, so we're taking sale price, and of the sale price, 60% of it is of the home, right? We don't care about the land value, we care about the home. And then we're multiplying that by 0.5%, because the equation states that a home depreciates 0.5% per year. So we're depreciating the home times the difference in the age. So if our subject home was 1980, this home is 1976, the age difference is 4 years. So the equation is the sale price times the home, which is 60% of the total price, over a 4-year period. That's the difference in the age, and it's depreciating 0.5% per year. Does that make sense to everybody?
So how much was that subject property listed for? That way we can just go back. I don't have that. Okay.
Well, we're going to take the sale price of the comp.
Oh,
So
okay.
so if we're looking at this one, for example, 3 Linden, we're going to put this in the RPR, okay? Let me just keep going. We're going to put in the RPR and we'll do all these calculations. I just want to show you guys how I go about. I have the sheets usually printed in front of me, and I'll actually go in with my pen and physically on the sheet put the value. So like, for example, here I would have put the value. So the age difference is 4 years, right? The sale price here was 700,000. Oh my gosh, look at this. The list price was 625 and it sold for 700. How nice is that?
Hmm.
All right, so the sale price was 700,000 times 60% times 0.5% times 4. So that's 8,400. So on my sheet, I would have actually have written right here, plus, like right next to this, plus 8,400. Just for my own, you know, I would jot it down on the sheet. And then I'm going to put that information in the RPR to make a nice report. And the reason I'm adding is our house is newer. our subject property is newer. This is older. So I'm adding 8,400. Okay. All right. So let me actually go to the RPR and we'll start like loading it in. And I think you guys will be able to see it, right? Because can you see it, the RPR?
Yes.
Okay, good.
How did you get to the
All right.
RPR? I'm sorry.
It's narrpr.com.
Oh, okay. So you went to the other tab. Okay.
Yeah. And you're going to have an account set up for free because it's through the Garden State MLS. Just, you need to just create an account. I think all of you guys pretty much have one created. So here we're going to actually, what's that?
Will you go through the equation again, the sale price times?
I'll go through it again when I'm going to input it into the RPR. I'll
Yeah,
explain it
okay.
again.
Okay, thanks.
And if you guys, again, if you don't have the adjustment guide, and I think I emailed it to most of you because you come to my trainings, but if you
I
don't
didn't see
have
my
it,
email, so
yeah, if
would you mind?
Yeah, if you don't have it, can you just please like text me or email me?
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
okay.
sure. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to enter in here the subject property, which was 49, right? 49. Beverly Hillsborough. Okay. I'm going to click then on CMA. And you have two choices here for a CMA: comparative analysis and a sales comparison analysis. A comparative analysis doesn't allow you, it's estimated based on just the sale price. And we don't want to do it just on sale price. We want to adjust with details of features, right? So you want to select the sales comparison analysis. That's what's going to give you the spreadsheet, the table with all the specific features that we can add and subtract. So again, if you just did just a comparative analysis, it's only taking sale price and it's not correcting for the details of the home features. The sales comparison analysis will actually detail the specific features of the home, and then you can add and subtract and customize. So we always want to do sales comparison. So the first step is you want to confirm the home facts. Okay, and most of this you're never going to change, but you have to confirm to move to the next step. Okay, so scroll all the way to the bottom and just hit confirm. It's usually always right. Okay, now we're going to find comps. Now this will actually search for comps for you, but we don't want to rely on this. We don't want to rely on this. You want to do what we just did, go to the MLS first and find comps in the area that you think are fitting for this listing. And then use this RPR as kind of like to supplement, because maybe, something else comes up that looks pretty good, right? So always add the ones that you select, that you took the time to select, and then just use whatever comes up here as just supplemental if you wanted to add a few more. So scroll down and hit search. Okay, and then it actually gives you some of the homes that it used. So this is one of ours, 10 Barbara, right? So let's add this one to the comps list. And this one is actually, it actually used it. And it tells you which one it actually used and then some other comps. So the RPR actually used this one. So bravo for us, right? We picked the good one. All right, so that's one. And then let's keep going, see if there's any more that we picked. Okay, I don't see it. Do you see how it doesn't even pull up the 47 Beverly? I mean, that's the most obvious, right? It's literally next door, right? But it didn't pull it up. So what we do in this case is add a known property, go to the top, add a known property, type in 47 Beverly, click on it, and it'll add it. Okay, this one was for sale, closed for sale, closed. The reason it probably didn't pull it up is it's a little bit older, but it's okay. All right, and then the last one was 3 Linden Drive. So let's use those three. And then if you wanted to add any more, you know, we're just going to use these three for now, just to make it easy. You can always go and add some from the list. But I just keep it simple. You don't want to add too many, right? So then this gives you the range of what the home sold for. And again, this is only the price it's sold for, but it doesn't correct for the details or the features of the home, right? So we want to update the valuation and close. Okay, now we're going to go to step 3, which we make our adjustments. So we hit adjust comps. Okay, subject property is the first column, and then 1, 2, 3, the ones we selected. Now, if you had more than 3, it'll take you to another page, and then you'll be able to take an arrow and go to the next page. So we just kept it simple with the 3. So here now, it tells you the price it's sold for, which is important. Automatically, this is telling me that the one, maybe one is a little bit bigger, but we'll get to the square footage in a second. So when we correct for, why do we not correct for bedrooms? We're not going to be correcting for bedrooms. Why do we not correct for bedrooms? Because we're correcting for square feet, right? So you don't correct for square feet and bedrooms, right? So because you're correcting for square feet, you're already taking into account that the home's, footprint. So the number of bedrooms doesn't matter. Do you understand that point? You guys understand that point? Okay.
Mhm.
So we ignore the bedrooms. This one home could have 20 bedrooms and our subject has 4, it doesn't matter. Square footage matters. If one had 20 bedrooms, it means they're like teeny tiny, right?
Sure.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Baths matters. The number of bathrooms matters. And we purposely, in this case, selected them to all have 2.5. So we don't have to correct. Now, if this one was, let's say 3.5, right? Then we would go to our sheet and we'd say, okay, this one has an extra bathroom. And you go to the sheet and you would find on here how much a full bath adds. Okay, and then you make that correction. But again, in this case, it was 2.5, so we don't have to correct.
Sophie, I have a question. Under mine, this one, 3 Linden and 10 Barbara are not even showing the bedrooms and what have you. Now, did you enter that or that just populated by itself?
No, these populated by itself. This one doesn't show it. So you would just have to, like, again, the bedrooms doesn't matter. You don't really care about the number of bedrooms.
Okay, because this wasn't showing up, it's blank, so I was wondering, okay.
It shows up as blank and then you just have to fill it in. I would have gone, technically you should go and find the number of bathrooms in 3 Linden. Go back to the MLS. So if I went back here.
Even those are not showing up here in my case.
Yeah, so let's see, if you go here, 3 Linden, did it not have it in here?
Well, this one
Here.
that,
This is 2.5. So see, you just get the info off the MLS.
okay. If it's
2.5.
not there, then you get it off the info, MLS.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
enter it.
So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna say, okay, this is 2.5, right? We don't correct for it,
Okay.
okay? Now square feet, this you're gonna correct for. So the subject property is 2312. The first one here is 1908. So Sarwat, this is where I'll explain the equation, okay? So we take the sale price, which in this case was 540. And you can confirm that off of the MLS. So if we went to that, and this one was, what was the address? 10 Barbara. So now if I go to 10 Barbara, okay, all right, it's sold for 540. Okay, so it's correct. It's usually accurate. You don't have to really double check it, but I just wanted to show you how to check that. Okay, So you're gonna take the sale price of the one that we know sold. Oh, well, this is for age. You wanted to know for age, right? Okay, so, all right, let's go down to the age then. Let's talk about the age. So year built, 1980, 1975, right? So you're going to take 540 times 60%, because of the total 100%, 60% is home and 40% is land. That's the assumption when we're calculating it. So sale price times 60% times 0.5%. So times 0.005. Again, that is the amount that it depreciates every year, a home, 0.5% a year, times the effective age difference, which in this case is 5 years. So if I was to apply that calculation, I would take 540,000 times 60% times 0.005 and times 5, which is the age difference. And I get 8,100. Now, am I going to add 8,100 here, or am I going to subtract 8,100? Our home is newer. So on the comp, am I going to subtract 8,100 or add 8,100?
Add.
Subtract.
Subtract.
Opposite.
Are you adding it?
Add.
Ours is newer. Ours is
Oh.
newer.
Oh, that's
Right.
fine. Okay.
Yeah, it's always tricky. It's tricky. So here you're going to add 8,100. Okay. And you just type it in. This one is like pretty close. I wouldn't even really take the time to correct. It's only like a year, right? I would kind of just like leave it alone, right? This one is 4 years. I would correct for this one. This one's more significant. So again, we're going to, and this one now, so this was sold for 700,000, right? So I'm going to take 700,000 times what? 700 times what?
60%.
60% times,
Point.
But 0.005.
okay, times
The difference in age, which is 4,
4.
4, okay? And I get 8,400.
right?
How is that possible? When one is 5, right? Did we make a mistake on the first one? Oh, because it was 700,000.
Yeah, it was a higher price, right? on this
So
one.
am I going to add 8,400 or subtract 8,400?
Add.
Right, add. So I'm going to add 8,400. You guys get that? Okay. Because it's one thing to just follow the guide and just do it. I just want you guys to understand the calculation, right? So it makes sense why we're doing it that way. Okay, now let's go back up here to the square feet. So age and square feet are usually the biggest differences that determines price, right? So now this one is a more straightforward calculation. So if we go to the adjustment guide, basically the gross living area per square foot, if you're in like a $250,000 home range, is about $45 a square foot. If you're in a $400,000 home range, it's $75 a square foot. If you're in $750,000 home range, it's $100 a square foot. So we're like sort of in between, like 75 and 100, right? We're in between 75 and 100. So I usually just take the closest, or maybe just average the two. So maybe I'll take like, see, one is like 545. So you're like kind of in between. So maybe I'll do like $85 a square foot, right? Somewhere in between. Because we're in between 400 and 750. So between 75 and 100. So I'll take like $85 a square foot. So I'll come down here. So you take the difference in the square feet, So in this case, it's 2312 minus 1,908, which is 404. I'm going to multiply that by $85 per square foot. And I get 34,340. So I just round the number. Let's just say 34,000, just to round it. Now, am I going to add or subtract 34,000?
Add.
All right, add, because our house is bigger, right?
Sorry, Sophia, can you please explain how you got the 34,000 again?
You take the difference in the square feet.
Mhm.
So 2312 minus 1908. And then on the adjustment guide, which if you guys don't have, again, just email me and I'll send it to you. This is the adjustment guide that I use from Jeffrey Otto. It tells you the price per square foot.
Okay.
So it's a $400,000 house. The price per square foot is $75. On a $750,000 house, the price per square foot is $100. So because our properties that we selected are somewhere in between 400 and 750, I just kind of took a middle range between 75 and 100. And I just said, okay, 85. And we're going to use 85 as our factor, $85 per square foot. Does that make sense, Priya?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
So again, the difference times 85 in this case. And that's how we get 34,000. And we're adding because our property is bigger. Now these two are exactly the same. You don't have to correct, right? The second one, exactly the same. Just put 0. Now this one that's sold for 700,000, you can tell is much bigger, right? Much bigger. So we're going to take 2642 minus our subject property 2312. We get 330. We're going to multiply that by 85. It's about 28,000. Now, am I going to add or am I going to subtract?
Subtract.
Okay, because ours is smaller. Okay. And then let's see here, where's the basement was is usually another important feature, garage sometimes.
You have the
Fine
basement right there.
Yeah, there's another place here. This is what I'm looking for. Full. This one, what was the address on this one? The first one?
The subject is
That was
49.
10, this one is 10 Barbara, I think, correct? 10 Barbara. This one was, let's go back up. 10 Barbara, 47, okay, and 3 Linden, okay. So ours was a full basement, but it wasn't finished. So now if I go to 10 Barbara, that did not have a basement at all. So no, it's just sitting on slab. So I'm going to go back here and say here, no, none, right? Now, again, on the adjustment guide, a full basement in the $400,000 range is 20,000, and then in the 750 range is 32,000. So that's 12,000. So I'm going to take 6. So I'm going to say that a full basement has an equivalent value of 26,000 based on this sheet that I have in front of me, the adjustment guide. So am I going to add 26,000 or subtract 26,000?
Add.
Add 26,000. And these all had full unfinished as well. I think this one was also full unfinished, if I remember. So we don't have to correct for it. Okay. And then if there's any other features that's just striking about the property that's different, you know, then you can make these adjustments. Like I said, if it's on a busy road, that's usually a huge thing.
Say if there
Right.
was one bedroom smaller in one of the units compared to the other, then you'd make the adjustment, right? Or you don't do that because
Bedrooms does not matter. because you're already adjusting for square feet.
All right, so you'll do either or, which you prefer to do is.
You don't do either or, you just do square feet. You don't do bedrooms. You don't care about the number of bedrooms. That doesn't
Okay, got
matter.
it.
Yeah. Because it's the square feet matters.
Okay,
Square feet matters. Okay. You know, pool, you can make adjustments for pool. So you guys get the idea, right?
mhm.
So again, it's square feet and age are the two biggest things. Basement is usually the next biggest thing. Bathrooms, that kind of thing. But on this, you'll see the some of the additional things is, you know, take the time to look at the pictures as well for each of the homes, because quality and condition matters as well.
What about
But that
the,
is,
sorry, what about the acreage of the home, like?
yeah, you can look at the acreage matters as well. Acres matters. But believe it or not, acres does not, like, it doesn't really adjust. There's not a huge value to the acreage when you're making price adjustment. I'll give you an example. A half an acre on a $400,000 home is only an $8,000 difference.
Okay.
On a full acre is only 15 difference. I mean, it matters, but it's not going to be like tens of thousands of dollars. That's my point.
Okay.
Okay, unless, you know, you're talking about $1 million houses, right? But you do look at it. So in this, so let's see, where are the acres here? Here it tells you the dimensions of the lot. I mean, these are about the same. They have them in square feet. Let's do by acres. Okay. See, there's not a huge difference between these, like 0.8 and 1. Like, I wouldn't even adjust. And probably our subject property is probably pretty close to that too. You can just double check it. Well, it doesn't even have it. So in this case, I would correct if it was like a half an acre or 1 acre difference, I would correct. But in this case, they're all the same. So you can correct for it. Again, it's all on the adjustment guide. Anything on this guide. So you have busy road, power lines, is it on a cul-de-sac, number of acres, condition matters, but it's very subjective condition, right? How much it costs, but it does matter. Bathrooms, if they were renovated or not, you know, matters. HVAC systems matters. Is it 1 zone, 2 zones, right? Number of garages matters. Is it an attached garage? Is it a detached garage? Patios, deck, porches, right? This is why it's important. The way you look at that is you go here, exterior features. So our subject home has curbs, deck, storage, right? And you go to the next one. Curbs, decks, you know, pretty much the same. But this is where, look at the pictures. Look at the pictures, because if something has like a beautiful brick patio or beautiful paver patio versus like something that has just concrete, right? That makes a difference, right?
How do you
So
adjust that?
so just take a little bit of time and just look at some of the pictures.
But how would you adjust for that? Where
It's all on the
already,
guide. It's all on the guide.
no. In the RPR, where do you adjust for that
Yeah,
exterior?
anywhere you want, really, but there is a section for it. See cooling, heating, cooling, right?
Mhm.
Fireplaces matters, number of fireplaces, foundation, construction features, number. So you can
Okay.
really add it. See here, porch, patio, deck. These are all already in there.
Uh-huh.
If you wanted to add something, you can customize it. See where it says add a new row?
Right.
So if you wanted to add a new row, you can add something, or you can type your own thing, like ashes features, right? We won't correct for you because you're priceless, Ash. See, I just put you. I just
Thank
put
you.
you,
Got
right?
it.
Okay. So that's how you can customize it.
So
So
I just have a
after-
question regarding the renovation. So if a customer, or like, you know, the seller has a renovation done for 40,000, or if he's just doing something for 20,000, does that actually matter? Because we're just
So
looking
you
at
can't base it, you cannot base it on what they are paying for renovation. You never get, this is the one thing sellers don't understand when they're selling and buyers don't understand, right, when they're buying. You don't get 100% back on what you put into a house. It's just a fact, right? I could renovate my kitchen for like $50,000 and I'm not going to get $50,000 back.
Right.
Maybe 60%, maybe 50%, right? There's studies that are done on that. You can actually Google something like that, and then we'll actually tell you what your return is on different, renovations you do in the house. So you can kind of create your own equation based on your your search, your report that you're using. Usually like a kitchen will be like a half, like 50%, 60%. A pool is like nothing. Pool's like hardly anything. Good luck, right? You can put in 100 grand, like, and it's subjective too. Some people just don't want pools, right? Some people just don't want pools, but there is a value here for a pool on this spreadsheet. The only thing I remember that gets close to 100%, if not 100, is insulating an attic. Insulating an attic. Anything that's like has to do with energy efficiencies, those sort of things come up pretty high on what you recoup. But again, nothing is 100%. So if you're renovating on this sheet, it actually has renovation costs for specifically for the most common things that people are looking for, which is a bathroom or a kitchen. So on this sheet, and I'll give you an example, Priya asked, right? Priya?
Yes.
So for example, on this sheet, a kitchen remodel. Do you guys know the difference between a remodel and an update? A kitchen remodel versus a kitchen update?
A remodel is just,
Demolishing everything.
Like reconfiguring, right? Versus an update, it's like, okay, I'm just changing the cabinets and the granite, right? So a remodel is like a whole configuration. So for example, on a $400,000 house on this sheet, a kitchen remodel is only $16,000. And we all know to do a kitchen remodel can be many tens of thousands, right? Could be good old days, you could probably get away with 20, but now it's probably like 30, 40, right? A really good kitchen remodel. So do you see how you're only getting back like 16,000? You're only getting back like half. A kitchen update here is 8,000 because it probably costs you less to just update, right? So you see my point, it's just you're not recouping. So that's on here. Now the rest of the conditions and decor is really subjective. One has carpet, one has hardwood floors, right? Something like that. That would be a difference, right? All I can say for that is, it says here, if the cost of the condition or decor, it says here, exceeds 0.5% of the home value, which is a very small amount, then you just adjust for double the cost. And I mean, just use your best estimate. Like if one has like a really dingy, dirty carpet and one has beautiful hardwood, nicely polished floors, right? Kind of just, I just know from seeing houses that, maybe to redo an entire floor might be $10,000, right? Let's just say like a whole level. I'm going to probably adjust for 2 times that just to take into account any additional costs. So if I was to see a really dingy, dirty old carpet and another house that has like a beautiful hardwood polished floor, and I know that it probably will cost about 10,000 to do, then I would adjust like for 20,000. And that's on the sheet. It tells you that to adjust for 2 times the cost. All right. So then once you guys have all these, all the inputs put in, you can see here now, it adjusted the pricing of these homes, right? So this one sold for 700, but ours would be 680. This one sold for this, it would be 5, but again, you're going to put in all the values. Now you can weight them differently. They're equally weighted automatically. It's the equal weighting is applied because we have 3 of them. So a third of it is this, a third of it is this, a third of it is this, right? Now, if one of them I felt was like more accurate than the other, so like, for example, ours is 49 Beverly Drive. If I felt like 47 Beverly Drive was the best comp of them all, just because it's literally next door, then I can adjust for that, which is the second one here. I want to give this more weight, let's say, because this is 47 Beverly, literally next door. So say I want to give this 0.5%. You click on the edit button, and right next to 47 Beverly, I'm gonna say I want to give this 50%. And then you have to give this 25 and this 25. And then you hit apply and close, and then it readjusts the numbers based on the weighting, the comp weighting. And then once you have everything kind of, you're happy with everything, we adjusted for Ash's features, right? All those things. Then we're gonna hit update valuation and close. Okay, and then this is our valuation. It's saying that we estimated it to be 614,600, since the seller wants their 600 bucks. And then you're going to create a report. Okay, and we're going to create a valuation workbook. You can actually, everything comes automatically checked off. If you didn't want some things in there, you can take them out. I just leave them because it creates like a beautiful long report. And it looks so professional, like you spent hours on it. So then I'm going to run the report. And then it takes like a few minutes. It takes a few minutes. And when it's ready, it's going to ding like a doorbell, a cute little doorbell that it's ready.
Did you
And then-
select the valuation workbook? Is that what you said, Sophia?
Yeah, it automatically comes up like that. And I keep it like that, valuation workbook.
And then you just run the report?
Yeah, then you just hit run report.
Okay.
And all of this is automatically in there. You can personalize your report if you wanted to put some things in here. I've tried this before, personal and having it sent directly. I don't do that. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't work very well. So what I do is I just download the PDF when it's done. I opted for that, display now, and then download, and then I download, and then I just send it from my email directly to my seller or my client. So again, this takes some time. It's in the queue. That's what this means. It hasn't finished yet. See, it's finalizing. And we'll just wait a few minutes. Do you guys have questions while we wait for this report? I know we're a little past 1, but that's okay. We're almost finished. A couple more minutes.
So here you would just email it, or you would leave it as display now?
I'm just creating the report, and then I'm going to download the report. And then I'm going to email it from my email to my client.
You're not selecting email to, and then
No, it never works. It never works correctly. So I just don't even do that. And I prefer to have the report downloaded in my files.
All right. Okay.
I save it. And that way you can just pull it up more easily.
But we're not going to take a printout of this and take to the house.
I actually do. I actually I print this out. It's a very long report, so do it in the office. It's like 70 pages.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you can't make it to the office. I'll print it at home, but what are you going to do? But it's, I actually take a copy of the report with me when I go on a listing presentation, because this is your whole listing presentation. Oh my gosh, so loud, that doorbell. Must be a Ring doorbell. All right, so then automatically pops up. So we're going to download the report. And then you can hit the little download thing and save it to your, your drive, your thumb drive. But this is actually the report. So if you haven't already gotten the NAR RPR, when you do get it, set up all your settings first. This will be the first thing you do. So when you go in, go to your account section, and fill in all your info. And then that will automatically populate them when you create a report. So you can see it's like a really nice, beautiful report, right? It gives you location, and this was our valuation. We estimated it to be 614. All the details of what we said. So this is your tool when you go to the seller. When the seller is arguing with you about the price, this is your tool. You're going to pull this out and you're going to show them how you've adjusted, and bring your CMA guide. I walk right through it with them. I show them, the more informed they are, the easier it is for you guys, right?
So the subject property was listed for 575, but the comps show that you can get up to 614 and changes.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how accurate the comp is that we did, because I didn't obviously go through each and every single feature. But yeah, in our case, we saw that it was more. So if that happens in real life and you figure out, okay, list 575 and the comps are 614 and you're representing a buyer, let's say, not the seller, the buyer, right? You would go back and tell your client, hey, this home is going to sell for way over 6. It's worth it. This is why, right? So you're justifying your offer price. So this falls into line with what we're going to train on tonight, right? You kind of are going to have an idea of what they're selling for in the neighborhood. And in this case, they're selling for like 614, right? So then you can go back and justify to your buyer. So yeah, so this is the report. Again, very, very detailed. It even gives like pictures, history, really nice graphs, flooding information, like is it in a flood zone or not? You know, all the common questions. This one has the actual plat, which is really, really nice. So all these, and this was like the pluses, minuses that we did. Right. Pictures of the properties that we comped it with. And these, it's good to have these pictures because when you're presenting it to them, you can show them, well, hey, like your house has the carpeting and this one has the wood, you know, and I adjusted for this, or this one's got the brick patio, yours has the concrete, so I had to adjust for this, right? But don't insult them. Tell them their concrete patio is like the best looking concrete you've ever seen in their entire life. Right? All right. Do you guys get the idea? Do you have any questions for me before I end this session?
No,
Sophia, do Bright MLS have RPR?
If you have, you don't have Garden State?
No.
Well, I'm not sure if it's just Bright. I thought, because our office is in Garden State, so I don't know if you have RPR or not. You can try. You may have it because they're core, so technically both core, right? The reason Garden State MLS is coming up here is because when I registered with Garden State at the time. So when you actually just go and create an account, Yinka, and just see, because I have actually linked to my RPR. I have my Garden State, I have my Central Jersey, and I have my Bright. It may be, you may have it with Bright. You may have it with Bright.
Okay.
Sophia, just one question. So the 614,000 is the price that we came up with for the house, right?
Mhm.
And what was that 575 as list price?
So that's the list price. It was for sale.
Okay, but if we are putting the price for the house from the buyer's side, would 614 be our price?
Yeah, that's how you're going to go back to the buyer now and say to the buyer, hey, I did the comps on this house and it's actually a really low price. And the real value of this home is 614. So I recommend to you that we come in very, very strong with our offer, right?
Okay.
This is your justification to your buyer.
But if I'm working with a seller, would this
Well,
be
if
the price?
if you were to do a seller, you wouldn't even have a list price.
Yeah, so 614 would be the price that we come up with
Right.
for
So
the
you would
house,
tell your
right?
seller, I comped it at 614.
Got it.
Let's put the
Okay.
house on the market for 615, like just round it off.
Got it.
you know?
All right. Yeah.
Or
yeah.
you can, the best thing is to even justify to them to go even a little bit less and explain to them that you want the price, you want multiple offers, so the price organically goes up by itself. You don't want one offer to come in. So you can even say to them, I valued it at 614. Why don't we do it at 609 or 610, a little bit less to get some more buyers in. It's a hard concept, but in this case, 615, it's good. It would be a good value. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. So tonight we're gonna do a mock multiple offer situation. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna actually go through a contract of sale and how to write one. And then at the end, I'm going to email anybody who's on the criteria, and you're gonna do homework. You're actually gonna do one on your own, and I'm going to be the seller. You guys are gonna set me up as if you're gonna present offers to me as the seller. Each of you guys are representing a buyer. Okay, so you're gonna do your own offer and present it to me as the seller and email it to me before the next session on Thursday. So I'm going to give you guys randomly chosen pre-approval letters and criteria and all those kinds of things. I'm going to just select them randomly, and I'll email each of you that's on tonight. And then you're going to use that info and you're going to present an offer based on that info that you have to me, the seller. Does that sound like a good idea? I thought it was a great idea.
Yes.
And then you're going to go through the whole motion. You're going to create it in Command. And then I want you to go into DocuSign. I want you to get the forms. I want you to load up the signatures, and we're going to go through all that tonight. And then send it to me as the you know, and then you're going to actually email it to me as if you were presenting an offer to an agent. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for joining, and I hope to see you tonight. Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.